So there is nothing that is so painful that you will find out that your wife is cheating on you. But more also, when you found out, not that he's cheating, but this is a true saying, someone, even if it is a rape, it's nothing that you can take it as easy. But God made it look so easy to David. I will make your wives to be taken by another man from your own house, and it's going to be in the broad day, not in the secrecy anymore. So David saw that what was going to happen has already taken place. Even though David begged for the life of the baby in the womb of Bathsheba, the baby did not survive. The baby died. But something very strange happened. David was praying in the temple of the Lord. He was wailing, lying down. He wouldn't eat to spare the life of this young fella. We learn a great lesson over these fellas' death. By the moment the child died, rather David went home and asked for a way to take a shower and asked for food to eat. The servants all became so perplexed. What is going on here? When your son was alive, you rather fasted and prayed, and you even could not move. Right now that your son is dead, why do you now do the opposite? In the morning, we don't eat. In the morning, sometimes we don't take shower. Why do you have to now do the opposite? He said, why would I not do it? As for this one, who knows, one day I may go to him, for he cannot come to me, I will go to him. That gave us a very vivid picture about what happens to a child when he has not come to the accountability age. That a child dies all of a sudden. A child never had the opportunity to receive Jesus. Where's going to be the end of that child? God said, I take it easy. I'm going to take care of those who have never come to the ear of accountability. And therefore, David saw it in the vision, that in the revelation, that I will go to the child, but the child cannot come to me. Meaning that where he, David, will be, there the son will also be. In contrast to Absalom, when Absalom died, and they told him that Absalom died in the battle, David wept, and the people were even perplexed and asking David, are you saying that Absalom is better than all the soldiers who went out? If we have not killed Absalom, if we have not pursued him, Absalom would have removed you from your throne. Is it what you wanted? David said that, why would I not cry? For this young man, I will see him again no more. So that means that he got to the age of accountability. And when you have not received Jesus Christ, you've not come into the line of Christ, at that age, that time, there was nothing about Christ but about serving the Lord in that capacity. David knew that if you've never come into the enrollment list of God, that means that you will be lost forever. And so that was what he was teaching us, and tells us that today, if someone dies and the person has no Christ, the person is lost forever. It doesn't matter what requiem mass we will give to the person, whether it's a high mass or a low mass. No matter what mass that we will capture to, that will allude to the fact that God says we have lost the person forever. So now that great lessons have been learned. Today we move to the chapter 13 and chapter 14, we want to bring this thing, the crimes of David, David's son, Amnon, and Absalom. Now we're going to just look at these two brothers who are not from the same mother, but from the same father. So you can now see the trouble is now starting from David's home. And God is going to show us what he speaks shall surely prevail. There is that old bromate which says, if you are going to dance, you are going to have to pay the fiddler. If you are going to indulge in sin, you will have to suffer the consequences. The Lord gives it to us straight. In Galatians chapter 6, verse number 7, be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. You are not going to get by with sin whatsoever. Galatians 6, verse 8 goes on to say, for he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap everlasting. There is no question that David had sown to the flesh. Don't think for 1 minute that now he can walk away from his sin. Make a sweet little confession, and that is it. I've heard people say, well, the blood of Christ covers it. It certainly does. And you don't lose your salvation, brother. But I want to tell you that sin causes a fastening soul that has to be lanced. This brings to this chapter 13. David has made his confession of sin. God has told him, your sin has caused my enemies to blaspheme me. I won't give you up, but you are not going to get by with it. Thank God that he will not give us up, but the chicken do comes home to roost. Let's see what is happening. God will never let any child of God get by with sin. Verse number 1, chapter 13, verse number 1. And it came to pass after these that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister whose name was Tamar. And Amnon, the son of David, loved her. Although Absalom and Tamar had the same mother and father, Tamar was Amnon's half-sister. David was their father, but they had different mothers. So now you can understand it. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin, and Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shemaiah, David's brother. And Jonadab was very subtly man. And he came unto him, why art thou, being the king's son, lean from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. Amnon Amnon was not eating. He was so madly in love with Tamar that he had lost his appetite. His friend could see that he was not eating, but he also recognized the problem since Tamar was Absalom's sister and Amnon was afraid of Absalom. You see, the instinct was there. This man knew that that was wrong. We could just take away the fear of Absalom because Absalom was a warrior. Take that fear out. The man knew that that was not good because that person was the direct blood sister. The same blood that runs through Amnon is the same blood that runs through Tamar. So why can that be? Always we call that the father's blood is in us. So what is it that you cannot even resist? And that was a pain in the heart. Now look at the cousin. The cousin who is happen also to be the friend, Jonadab. And Jonadab said unto him, Lay thee down on thy bed, and make thyself sick. And when thy father cometh to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come and give me meat, and dress the meat in my side, that I may see it and eat it at her hand. So Amnon lay down and made himself sick. And when the king was come to see him, Amnon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar my sister come and make me a couple of cakes in my sight, that I may eat at her hand. That David sent home to Tamar, saying, Go now to thy brother Amnon's house and dress him meat. There is no use to read the next few verses, which contains the solid details of what happened next. Amnon raped Tamar. Then we are told that he hated her. Look at the verse number 15. Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he had loved her. And Amnon said unto her, Arise, be gone. This awful thing had taken place in the house of David. When Amnon was through with her, he flung her out. What a disgrace. Look at verse 19. And Tamar put ashes on her head, and rent a garment of divers colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head, and went on crying. You see, Tamar was now thrown out of the house, and now she is in a sackcloth and ashes. You can see that trouble is brewing out. Let's see the verse number 20 and 21. And Absalom her brother, said unto her, Hath Amnon thy brother been with thee? But hold now thy peace, my sister, he is thy brother. Regard not these things. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. But when King David heard of all these things, he was very wroth. That's all what the Bible could say. David was angry about what happened, but does not do anything about it. David was like many other men in scriptures. He was an indulgent father who raised a bunch of kids who were bad. That has happened again and again. It started with old Eli, God's high priest. His sons were not holy, were not only immoral, they were godless and had religious racket going on. Then we come to Samuel. Since he was raised in the same environment and atmosphere as Eli's sons, you would think Samuel will be more of a disciplinarian and that he would have maintained some authority and control over his sons. But his sons turned out to be corrupt and dishonest. Next to come is David. He knew Samuel and he knew Samuel's sons. You would think he would have been more strict with his children, but he was not. He too was indulgent father. He was angry about what Amnon did to his sister Tamar. But after all, what kind of an example has David set for his boys? The chickens are beginning to come home to roost. Perhaps you think I am a square because I say some old-fashioned things. But I am convinced that the main problem today in the Christian home is the lack of example and discipline on the part of parents. Friends, if you are a Christian and you have naughty little boy in your home, don't spend your time lecturing him. You are not going to get anywhere that way. Give him an example and discipline and start soon, because the day will come when he will walk out. Another strike against David is the fact that he had multiple wives and many children. As a king with many heavy responsibilities, how much time do you think he spent in rearing his children? The problem with many of us who have been in Christian work is that we probably have neglected our families for the sake of the work. We have excused our neglect on the basis that we were doing Christian work. I must confess that if I could get back and do one thing over again, it would be to spend time with my daughters when they were growing up. I now have grandchildren. They are wonderful. I am enjoying them more than I enjoy even my daughter. When she was a child, do you know why? I was too busy when she was small. Now I am not busy and I can spend time with my grandchildren. That's where I always miss so much. Christian parents need to realize that they need to spend time training their children. Don't get the impression that you are raising a little angel. There are many parents who treat a child as if he were a cross between an orchid and a piece of a Dresden china. They believe that if they apply the broad of education to the seed of knowledge, they will break him in pieces, or he will come apart. Proverbs 23 verse number 30 says, withhold not correction from the children. For if thou beatst him with the rod, he shall not die. David did nothing about the problem created by Amnon. So what happened? What happened? Let's move on to verse number 22. And Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon neither good nor bad. For Absalom hated Amnon because he had forced his sister Tamar. This is David's house, own home. Friends, this is the house of the man that is after God's own heart. He did not get by with sin. God says that we will not get by with any sin either. Absalom is making time. He's waiting for the day when he can get even with Amnon. And that day will surely come. Remember the prophecy of Nathan. Now let's see what really transpired. Now we know Amnon made it by Absalom. I'm not going to go into details at that point. But a day came when Absalom killed Amnon. Absalom waited for 2 years before making his move. He invited the king's sons to a feast. And in connection with the sheep sharing time, since Absalom had shown no sign of wanting revenge, David let Amnon go and attend that party. Let's see verse 28. Now Absalom had commanded his servant, saying, Mark ye now, when Amnon's heart is merry with wine, and when I say unto you, smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not. Have not I commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant. You see, when the day came that Amnon's heart was merry with wine, with what? With wine, Absalom had him killed. The first message David received was that all his sons were dead. Then Jonadab told him that only Amnon was slain. Let's move on and get into the verse number 36. Now therefore, let not my lord the king take the thing that his heart to think that all the king's sons are dead. For Amnon only is dead. But Absalom fled, and the young man that kept the watch lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there came much people by the way of the hillside behind him. And Jonadab said unto the king, Behold, the king's son come, as the servant said. So it is. You see, since Absalom actually plotted Amnon's murder, he has to also flee to a sanctuary place. And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of speaking, that behold, the king's son came and lifted up their voice and wept. And the king also and all his servants wept very sore. But Absalom fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. And David mourned for his son every day. You see, Absalom's mother was the daughter of the king of Geshur. And this is the one reason why Absalom fled to him. As I pointed out before, David made a mistake in marrying this foreign woman. Remember that he had married this woman during his lapse of faith when he withdrew from the land. She bore the king two very attractive children. One was Absalom and the other was Tamar. Apparently, David did not discipline this wild boy, who was the son of a pagan and a Bedouin. In a way, Absalom seemed to be justified in what he did, since David did not take matter into his own hand when Amnon sinned. You see, anytime there is a trouble, look at the root. You will see that it's coming from the mixed children. Mixed children, they are dangerous. Thank God that some got married through their marriage, then the both of them became Christian. Praise God. God will never hold these things against you, but ride you onto. But when there is a mixed child, when the man is not a Christian or the woman was not a Christian, and then the babies come, how cool they are. This is one thing that I want you to put it under your sleeve. If the family is, one is a Christian and one is not, give the people every indication to watch out the children. Watch out very carefully, because they will raise, they will rise up one day and they will build up hatred by which you can see that it will not only affect the nature of the family alone, it will extend to the broader family, that is your brothers and sisters' children and everyone. They will be in trouble. And when you are in a church, these children will also cause troubles in the church. And it is always like that. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur. So we know where he went, because that was where his root was from. Now let's see, David permit Absalom to return. What happened? Chapter 14 is where we are now going to get through. Now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived that the king's heart was towards Absalom. And Joab sent to Tekoa and fetched thence a wise woman, and said unto her, I pray thee, feign thyself to be a mourner, meaning that he should pretend to be a mourner, and put on now mourning apparel, and anoint not thyself with oil, but be as a woman that had a long time mourn for the dead, and come to the king and speak to on this matter unto him. So Joab put the words in the mouth of the woman. Joab knew in the vicinity of Tekoa, and many have known this woman from early days. And when the woman of Tekoa spake to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and did obeisance, and said, Help, O king. And the king said to her, What allieth thee? And she answered, I am indeed a widow woman, and my husband is dead. And thine handmaid had two sons, and the two strove together in the field, and there was none to part them. But the one smote the other, and slew him. And behold, the whole family is risen against thine handmaid. And they said, Deliver him that smote his brother, that we may kill him. for the life of his brother whom he slew, and we will destroy their hair also. So they shall quench by coal which is left, and shall not leave to my husband neither name nor remainder upon the earth. You see, Joab got her to play upon the feeling of David by telling him her sad story, just as David had used a deception. He was now being deceived. Now look at the verse number 11. Then said she, I pray thee, let the king remember the Lord thy God, that thou wouldest not suffer the revenge of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. And he said, as the Lord liveth, there shall not one hair of thine son fall to the earth. You see how David responded? David grants her imaginary son a full pardon. Then she makes the application to David and Absalom. Listen to what happened. And the woman said, wherefore then hast thou taught such a thing against the people of God? For the king that speak this thing as one which is faulty, in that the king doth not fetch home again his banished. The woman at Tekoa, from Tekoa, was putting David in the place of the imaginary prosecutors. What the prosecutors could do to her remaining son, David was doing to God's people by punishing Absalom for the crime he had committed. She is representing the people of Israel as the widowed woman. She claimed to be speaking in the name of all Israel, and possibly she does express their feelings. Absalom was very popular with the people, and they probably felt that Amnon got what he deserved. The final outcome of the incident is that in the half-hearted way, David is willing for Absalom return. Look at what happened. Verse 21. And David and the king said unto Joab, behold now, I have done this thing. Go therefore bring the young man Absalom again. And Joab fell to the ground on the face and bowed himself and thanked the king. And Joab said, today thy servant knoweth that I have found grace in thy sight, my lord, O king, in that the king had fulfilled the request of his servant. So Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said, let him turn to his own house, and let him not see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house and saw not the king's face. It is unfortunate that David did not want to see his son. It actually set the stage for Absalom's rebellion, which takes place in the chapter 15. Absalom was a bad boy, but he was a good politician. We shall see this in the next chapter. Absalom's high-handed action of setting Joab's standing grain on fire to force Joab to come to him in another revelation of Absalom's personality. Let me now end this chapter, verse 32 and 33. And Absalom answered Joab, Behold, I sent thee, saying, Come hither, that I may send thee to the king, to say, Wherefore am I come from Geshur? It hath been good for me to have been there still. Now therefore let me see the king's face, and if there be any iniquity in me, let him kill me. So Joab came to the king and told him, and when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on the face of the ground before the king. And the king kissed Absalom. And Absalom succeeded in persuading Joab to bring him to his father for reconciliation. Although David's case was a sign of complete reconciliation and restoration of Absalom, politicians and people in position as the king's son will always be. It was given reluctantly. The fact that his father did not give him instantly, wholeheartedly forgiveness ranked in his soul. God had not forgiven David half-heartedly. God did not say, Well, I forgive you, but we will not have fellowship anymore. I will not restore you to the joy of your salvation. When God forgives, he forgives completely. You and I are admonished, and be ye kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. Has God forgiven us? Yes. How are we to forgive others? The same way that God does. David should have forgiven Absalom. He is setting the stage for rebellion. Oh, friends, our God is God who forgives. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 1 tells us, Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou be tempted. It appears that many of us don't read that verse correctly. We think it says, if a man be taken in a fault, take a baseball bat and hit him over the head. We are reluctant to forgive, and we can be very mean at times, very involving and critical. There are times when the truth should be spoken, but when forgiveness is asked for, it should be extended immediately. The word is immediately. David made a blunder in not forgiving his son as God had forgiven David. He will live to regret it. What is very ironic about David's life is that, you see, God says that whatever a man sows, so shall he reap. David in his very lifestyle became a deceiver, very deception in very nature. And God also made him to be paid back in deception. You remember what Jacob did. Jacob deceived, and then he entered into ascendancy. He became Jacob through deception. And then one day, his children also deceived him. And when he remembered, he cried. Jacob was not crying because Joseph was dead. He remembered, because it's the same coat, that he put on to make his father feel that, oh, as for the voice is my son Jacob, but the skin tells me that it's Esau. The same coat was brought to Jacob, and when Jacob felt the coat and smelled it, he started crying. Why? He was crying and weeping over the sin that he committed. But he doesn't understand. It's the same coat that I deceived my father. It's the same coat I've been portrayed. So God says that whatsoever a man soweth, he shall reap. Thank God for Jesus. What we have done in our past, if all these things were coming and unfolding before us one by one, none of us would have even loved to live. We would have loved to kill ourselves and take some kind of a short way of committing suicide. God in mercy, sometimes he lets certain things go, but the fact is that no sin will go unpunished. Even though we go out there and ask for forgiveness, whatever that strikes up that sin, the consequences will ever come. Beloved, here is a good story for us to know that David did not get away with sin. If David never got away with sin, a man after God's own heart, what makes you to think that you can get away with sin? David paid the same price, and even greater than what he paid. And that is exactly what is going on in the Christendom. We must now, some of us have to go through some troubles that we don't understand why we're going through. And woe unto the man who comes to say that I will never let this thing happen to you. God is teaching us a lesson of how we can humble ourselves. David now asked God for forgiveness. He became ruthless and he wouldn't forgive Absalom. He only gave him a half kiss. That's how this man also came to betray Jesus Christ with just a half kiss. Just to say that this is the man. And so Jesus knew the kiss was not a depth one. Was not a kiss that would just embrace him, but a kiss of revealing him as a half man who is not with a full heart for the Lord. Are you serving the Lord in the fullest of your capacity? Learn how to forgive and learn how to go out when someone asks for forgiveness. Apply it immediately and let the whole nature of God only prevail. Your judgment will be that you will begin to speculate. You think that you did this sin and then you come to me and you ask for forgiveness and I forgive you. That's speculation. You wait. You see, some people will wait 3 years from the time the person asks for forgiveness, whether the same sin will be repeated. And you don't know when that thing will ever come back or will never come back. So we begin to speculate that I am holding back and giving you only half forgiveness, but I'm not going to endorse completely. God never forgives us in a half-hearted heart. He forgives us fully. It doesn't matter whether somebody is going to trample over that thing. Men do it to their wives. When they are caught red-handed, say, forgive me. Those who cannot even say forgiveness will just use silence as a way of controlling affairs. David used silence. For 2 years he did not see Absalom. For 2 years he made not to meet Amnon. And that he uses silence as a punishment. Men uses silence as a punishment unto their wives. And you know the wife's love to the husband is so greater. No woman will ever love to see in the house when he's not having a good talking terms with the husband. Then you will see that the woman will go out of the house, will be doing things and be talking, but meanwhile, when the husband have left and has not come home, the woman is still panting and pondering that when will my husband come home? Meanwhile, they are not talking. But a man can just be silent like David. But women will never. Sometimes they say that, so because of what you did, you are not going to repent. And you will never. You think that you can use the silence. The woman is being hurt. But yet the man become stoic, almost like pillar. They don't feel anything. Beloved, if your wife say, if anything that comes out by forgiveness, don't ever raise it up in the next hour and the next 3 days when troubles exactly. You did this thing to me last 2 years and you told me to forgive you. See, you are doing it again. You think I am stupid. You've taken me to be cheap. The man has never told you that you are a cheap. Because of your own references and your speculation, you have now cheapened yourself and calling yourself some names. And when the man doesn't talk it up, you say, yes, this is how you think me to be. I am that very stupid. Very stupid. I will cook for you, do everything for you, and then you treat me this way. Beloved, when we forgive and then it passed 2 years, we should never bring the 2 years issue as if we are dealing with it now. When issues can be spotted and dealt with it on the same spot, it will be proper for us. People are having long unhealed wounds, and that is what is resolving in homes and families. Unhealed wounds, and they never even find a way to heal themselves, and they continue in that marriage. People are calling and bragging about, we have lived for 38 years. Beloved, I can tell you, 3 years is the only successful years that you people have lived together. The last 35 years has been. I am dealing with an issue. A woman called me and told me that, Pastor, my 36 or whatever years, over 30 years plus marriage is soon over. Why? It's over. And then I told the woman that, look, if I hear your story as over coming out from you, I know that the whole life you have sacrificed enough for this marriage. The best time that you people have lived properly wouldn't be more than 5 years. He said, Pastor, how did you know? I have covered this man, even in his infidelity. In every issue, I have covered him. Now look at the bigger thing that you should easily resolve this issue. I said, yes, you people were hanging in on unhealed wound. And when it's unhealed, you go to God and you are just playing. It's not going to go anywhere. Your prayer is not going anywhere. That's why God saw that even in 38 years, the marriage must now come to an end. Why? If you have healed that wound would have not been able to surface. Now you are remembering whatever date and years what this man did to you. That is which is hurting you so bad. And if you call yourself that we have lived for 38 years, but rather bragging that we married and we have lived for only 5 years. That should be the cause. Don't call that longevity to brand and to confuse young generation that are copying you, thinking that 35 years a marriage can just come to an abrupt end. It doesn't work that way. It is only 3 years or 4 years you people live together properly. And after that, everything was a mess. Get yourself healed. If there is anything that is going on as a grudge and a trouble in a marriage, get some kind of help, a counseling and a kind of a way to bring up. Marriage must always come in when it comes to the point that you people don't ever raise up when you are seeing something that you cannot solve it. Confide in a brother and let them come down and then sit down. Going to the pastor will be maybe too much because it's the same pastor who is going to give you communion. And you might think that the pastor carried the judgment in the heart. Find someone who is on the same level and the person who is so renowned. Heal yourself. But I will recommend that when you call a pastor will bring you into that healing. If only the pastor have a good heart for you people. I just challenge you this day. David never healed that wound, and that trouble is coming. This is the first sign of the trouble. May God help us, and may God grow us, even in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.